You're stretching out. We got to get you outside of that football lane, man, where the guaranteed contracts are, where the best athletes in the world are. That's us. I can take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA.
So I want to make sure I'm hearing you and Austin Rivers correct. So you could take 30 players currently right now and go play in the NFL. I ain't talking about that play before. I ain't saying we gonna give them a year, 2 years to train. You can put that ass out there on the field right now.
I'm asking. Say LeBron James. Say LeBron James. You don't think LeBron James is gonna play football right now?
He was 15, Perk.
It don't matter. Do you think LeBron James could go play football right now?
Absolutely not.
And so this is just going to be a follow-up video to the video I did the other day in regards to NBA players being able to make the jump into the NFL. Some NBA players. And Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, and Shannon Sharpe chimed in on it. Go ahead and take a listen.
Do you think NBA players can play in the NFL?
Yes, I do. Hell yeah, I do. And look, I can name you a few right off the top of my head. Jalen Suggs, and if you go look at his resume, in high school, one of the best high school quarterbacks in his class, had offers at Ohio State and Nebraska. Okay, LeBron James, we know what he did in high school for as his resume at wide receiver when he was in the state of Ohio. I look at a guy like Russell Westbrook, he could play. I'm looking at Anthony Edwards. I think he could go play safety, receiver, running back, you name it, that freak of nature. Aaron Gordon, we look at him, he looks like a linebacker, damn it, he plays with a certain level of physicality. So, I mean, the list goes on. Here's the problem that I have, right, when it comes down to this conversation. All the football players around the world, they took offense to this. Oh, basketball players are soft. They're not mentally strong and all this. They're not mentally tough or whatever the case may be. Well, that's a damn lie. They have certain ones that are painted like that, but I know a lot of professional basketball players that have the mentality.
And so this is where I'm going to contradict myself just a little bit here. I agree with Kendrick Perkins, but I also disagree with Kendrick Perkins. Hypothetically, NBA players would make good candidates for NFL tight ends and wide receivers, some of them, hypothetically.
Think you just about to catch and turn around. Try again, homeboy. Do your research on the NFL, man. Watch some football games, old games, new games, whatever you want to watch, and catch up on it, man, because 30 dudes in the NFL and the NBA ain't doing that, homeboy.
Drop the mic.
Because it does take a certain type of mentality to be able to go out there on that NFL field. It takes a certain kind of understanding, knowing that you got to go out there and do what you got to do to put food on the table, to pay the bills, to get those contracts. There's no guaranteed contracts in the NFL. And so when you're going out there, you have to have a certain kind of mentality.
Playing sideline stick, I was playing sideline stick too as well. I grew up playing Texas football. I just stopped playing in the 10th grade because, damn it, I saw NBA. I saw my name on the draft board as a high schooler, but then everybody else. Go ahead.
So I want to make sure I'm hearing you and Austin Rivers correct. So you could take 30 players currently right now and go play in the NFL. I ain't talking about that play before. I ain't saying we gonna give them a year, 2 years to train. You can put that ass out there on the field right now.
Shannon, I never said 30, but Molly asked me put some in there. Yes, I just named you 5.
Your damn mind.
Can you just because you sit up there and you're making a move on the grass? We understand all of this stuff that comes with it. So for Austin Rivers to say what he said, it was disrespectful to football players everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's important to point out. Having said all of that, here's the thing, and again, I want to go back to what Ryan Clark talked about. That mentality matters.
And so I agree with Stephen A. Smith 100% on this one. The mentality is everything. Like I said earlier, hypothetically, NBA players have the perfect archetype for the perfect tight end. But the mentality that an NBA player would need to make that transition, I don't think there's any way that they could get it. And it's not because they don't have the heart for it, they don't have the stomach for it, that's not it. And truth be told, the majority of these professional athletes all have the same level of heart and will, because it takes a lot of heart and will to be able to get to a professional level in any sport. And so that's not it. because the right mentality and the right temperament is created through necessity. And so it would be improbable and damn near impossible to get a top-notch NBA player to even step on the football field to try out for an NFL team. And I posted something yesterday. The average salary in the NFL is around $2 million. The average salary in the NBA is around $11 million. That's almost 5 times the amount of the NFL. And so why would an NBA player, even a fringe NBA player, let's say he only had a 3 to 4 year career, why would a fringe NBA player even step foot on the NFL field? Knowing that they don't have guaranteed contracts, I'm risking my health. And then on top of that, they can go overseas, they can go to China, play for a couple of months and make $2 million easily. I had a friend that did it, played for a couple of months in China, made $1 million, and he wasn't even a top-notch player over there, but he made $1 million easily. And so that's what I mean about the right mentality. In the back of your mind, if you know you don't have to, you're not gonna wanna do it. You're not gonna have the right temperament for it. You're gonna have 1 foot in and 1 foot out if you know you have other options. But for the most part, football players, once you take that path, but the likelier option and what's actually going on today, and like I said, I posted an article earlier about this, there's a pandemic of NFL teams going after college athletes, college basketball players to become tight ends, taking a chance, trying to train them up because the archetype is there. 6'6" players, great eye-hand coordination, footwork, the ability to be able to box out your opponent, be able to seal off your opponent, make a 10-yard catch. That's not hard, especially if you don't have any of the options, especially if you don't plan on hearing your name called in the NBA draft. That's the more likelier path as far as basketball players transitioning into the NFL. And I'm somebody that's a little bit biased because I tried out for a team before. I tried out for an arena football team before, just because one of my friends was doing it. After college, I tried out and I made it. I made it based on my athleticism, my height, my speed, and my ability to be able to catch a football. That's it. But prior to that, I had maybe 1 year of football experience back in the 7th grade. And I'm nowhere near the athlete of a LeBron James or a Zion Williamson. Well, I'm not gonna say nowhere near. I gotta give myself a little bit of credit. I was pretty athletic, but I wasn't on that level. And truth be told, I lasted about 3 weeks playing football. I didn't love it. The pay was horrible. The medical was even worse. And I had other options. And I don't want to risk getting hurt. I don't want to risk the rest of my life being paralyzed and walking around in a wheelchair for non-existent money, non-guaranteed money. And I didn't love football. Like I said, I hadn't grown up playing it. I didn't really have a love for it like that. I didn't enjoy standing around most of the time and not being involved in the action, especially being a fringe player. Like I said, I was somebody that just made the team based off my athleticism and my height. And so I was gonna have to work my way up, and I didn't have the love to do that. And so like I said, I'm a little bit biased. My view is a little bit more skewed. I see how these top-notch NBA guys could transition to the NFL if they had the right temperament and the mentality, but that would never happen, like I said, because they don't have the necessity for it. They're already millionaires once they sign their first contract, multi-millionaires. They're already good for life, especially if you're talking about that lottery round, first round pick. They're good. And so we're never really gonna see that. So it's all hypothetical. And so like I said, this wasn't gonna be a long video, but I came across this clip and I thought it would be a good follow-up to the video that I did the other day in regards to NBA players making their transition into the NFL. In which I agree with Austin Rivers, saying that NBA players could definitely make that jump, but what I left out was that it was highly unlikely and that we were never gonna see that, mainly based on what I just laid out. The mentality and the temperament is just not gonna be there. It's not gonna be there because the necessity is not gonna be there. But go ahead and make sure you guys chime in the comment section, and I'm gonna try to be as active as I can as well. And make sure you go ahead and hit that like button before your way out. And as usual, peace and chaos.